Hello and welcome to another Sprues and Brews unboxing. Today we're looking at the latest set for Warcry, Hunter and Hunted. So first of all I want to say a massive thanks to Games Workshop for sending us a free review copy a little bit ahead of time to check out and look at on the site. In this video what we'll be doing is having a look at the contents, checking out the new warbands, the new scenery, seeing how they perform in game, and then at the end of the video we'll have these built and hopefully painted up too so we can see what they look like in the flesh. But yeah, this is the next box for Warcry. So unlike the other sets that we've seen in this Heart of Gur season, all those other boxes came with like a whole board's worth of scenery along with the warbands and the book. This one's a little bit different. I think it's a slightly lower price point, £80 off the top of my head. It doesn't come with a kind of board, it doesn't come with like a whole board's worth of scenery. Instead it just comes with two warbands, a single new piece of scenery, and then all the usual kind of the book and all the cards as well. So if we flip it over, it's quite a cool set. We see a new Gorger warband for the ogres, which is really quite interesting. They always had like one, I think there was only one Gorger model that was made, and they've always been like a single model in ogre armies, where now we've got a whole warband of them and they look really cool. This one obviously here is, you know, I guess a new take on that classic model, but with the other ones in addition to it, that's really quite fun. It'd be interesting to see how the rules for Gorgers will change in Age of Sigmar as well, because obviously this is like a pack of them, which is pretty cool, and it's good to see a kind of, I guess, monstrous warband for Warcry as well, with this only having 5 models in it and them all being big chunky guys as well. That'll be really fun to see how these work out in the game. Alongside them we also get a more pit piece of scenery that I'm sure you could use as a more pot in games of Age of Sigmar. Again, it looks really cool, looking forward to seeing how that goes together. And then against them there's the Wildercor Hunters. So we've looked at these in the Cities of Sigmar Battletome review. These are pretty cool. They're basically, I guess, a reimagining of the Empire archers who like scouted forward. These guys have all got crossbows and they've got hunting dogs that go with them. So they look a really fun warband too. So yeah, we'll have a look at all these, have a look at the rules. Obviously we get the book in here and the cards too. So without further ado, let's crack this open and have a look at what is inside. So if we slide this open, and we can see, first of all, we've got the new scenery piece, and that looks like a big chunky piece of scenery. It's not got too many parts, so it should be fairly easy to put together, which is always good. And yeah, it's a really nice piece. It's got a very Sarlacc pit vibe to it, with the big moor at the bottom of it. So yeah, that looks really cool. Looking forward to building this one up and getting it painted, because that looks quite a lot of fun. We then have the Gorger warband, and again we've got quite a big full sprue here. Now I always thought that if we got an ogre warband for Warcry it'd be man-eaters, so was not expecting Gorgers, which I guess are one of the few kind of non-plastic models now in the ogre range. They've got a lot of plastic kits, and some really nice detail on these too. It's nice to see some new infantry for the ogres, because a lot of their kits date back from their, well, Ogre Kingdom times, back in the old world. So yeah, really looking forward to building these up as well. Looks like you get a fair few options on there. Again, when we get to the instructions we'll see, you know, just how much posability there is there. It looks like with a lot of these kits, you know, they're going to have a single pose, but they'll have different heads and different weapon options perhaps, so they look pretty cool. And then up against them we've got the Hunter Corps, who again, they look really, really nice. The new Cities of Sigmar stuff has been really, really good, and these guys fit in perfectly. So obviously we've got the Fusiliers and stuff that came out in the launch box. This gives you a different flavour unit, and again they're really cool in games of Age of Sigmar, so I'm interested to see how these guys perform in games of Warcry too. And obviously they've got dogs on the sprue as well, which is always a winner. So yeah. Now in the book box as well we've got all the paper stuff, so we've got bases for everything in the box. We've also got the cards, which I'll have a look at a little shortly, and we've got in here the instructions and the supplement book as well. So we'll have a look at all that properly in a little bit, but first of all we'll take a look at the instructions and see how these go together. So if we zoom in this a little bit and just have a look at what kind of options that we've got. So again, right off the bat, in Warcry you often get quite a few different options for your weapons and stuff, and later on in the video we'll have a look at the loadouts for the various units as well and see what the optimum build might be. But yeah, you can see you've got quite a few different options for putting these guys together. Now at the time of filming this, I don't know if they're going to have, you know, different rules for different weapons. I'm not sure, to be honest, but there's some nice variety between them as well. I suspect we'll see a weapon loadout for the spears and then a weapon loadout for the crossbows to give you a bit of variety for your warband. I think for games of Age of Sigmar they always count as armed with crossbows off the top of my head, so shouldn't be a massive issue there. This is really nice with the big kind of mounted crossbow too, and all the dogs as well, so they're really fun. And then we get to the ogres. So it looks like we've got quite a bit of choice for the kind of the heads of the weapons. A couple of different horns on them too, so while not masses of customization on them, there is a fair bit. I mean, this guy's got the big double-handed weapon or his two kind of claws, and again this guy can have a claw or a hammer as well, so interested to see if there's any difference rules wise. We get quite a lot of heads as well, which is good to see. So yeah, it looks like there is a fair bit of variety there, which is pretty cool. And then yeah, the more pit itself looks like it's really easy to go together, so that shouldn't take any time at all to build up and get sorted. So what we're going to do now is have a look at the rules for the two warbands and check out the supplement book that comes within this box. So let's take a look at the Hunter and Hunted supplement book. So this follows the same format as the other books that came with the previous kind of Heart of Ger series. So we get the rules for both of the warbands in here, along with lore about them as well. And this is pretty interesting. It looks like the god of the ogres has awoken, and there's more pits opening up across the Gnarlwood. There's been lots of earthquakes and unusual things happening, and yeah, now we assume it's the Maw that is awakened, but I don't know if there's maybe hints that there's something else that's stirring beneath Ger as well. Parts of the ship, the Seraphon ship, are sinking down into the land, other parts are being kind of unearthed, and that kind of ties into the other scenery kit that is up for pre-order alongside this box, which coincidentally a lot of the cards in this box as well do use that scenery from the other box. I don't know if maybe in the past this was meant to be all released together. I quite like that it's split because it gives you an option to have this slightly cheaper box without all of the scenery in it. But yeah, we learn about the Gorgers and the Hunters. The Gorgers are essentially ogres that are constantly hungry. They cannot sate their appetite, which is a bit of a curse for the ogres. They can never satisfy themselves despite how much they eat. And now that all these maws are opening up across Ger, they are feeding bodies and things into this because they believe that it will kind of maybe appease their god and let them finally sate their hunger. So that's quite cool. Obviously it's been a while since we've had any Gorger models. The original one came out with the original Ogre Kingdoms book back in Warhammer Fantasy times, so really good to see them get new plastic kits. And again we learn about the Wildercor Hunters as well, who are part of the cities of Sigmar, the Dawnbringer Crusades that are venturing out, and they are dealing with the ogre threat in this box. So as per the other ones, we get a nice colour section with all the painted models in them, which is really nice to see. And then we get all the rules materials too. And again, like I say, this follows the same format as the other boxes that we've got in this edition. So first of all, we get the rules for the Gorger Mawpack. Their unique reaction: they can make the reaction after they're targeted by a melee attack, but before the hit rolls are made. If none of the hit rolls from the attack result in a critical hit, allocate 6 damage points to the attacking fighter. So that's a really good reaction. They've got a double. Bounding leaps. Fighter can only use this ability if there's a visible enemy fighter within 6 inches of them. Fighter makes a bonus move action and must finish closer to the closest visible enemy fighter than they were at the start of that move action. They've got a double Glimmer of Consciousness. This is used on all the ones with the beast rune mark. So that's like everything apart from the clawback. And basically it stops it from having the beast rune mark. So if you've got any things that kind of key off that, that's quite useful. We've then got another double, Unnatural Force. So this is on the clawback. Until the end of the fighter's activation, add 1 to the damage points allocated to enemy fighters by each hit and each critical hit from melee attack actions made by the fighter. So that's really good. We've got a triple Agonizing Roar. So this is on the Cave Howler. Roll a dice for each enemy fighter within 6 inches. On a 4+, until the end of the battle round, they cannot make disengage actions, so that's pretty useful. We've got Maddened Blows. This one is on the Gorger with Great Club. Until the end of the fighter's activation, hit rolls for the attack activations made by the fighter score a critical hit on a 5+, so that's really good, especially as those crits hit for 8 damage each on him. And then we've got a quad Starving Rampage. Until the end of the battle round, the fighter is considered to have the beast rune mark. If the fighter is carrying treasure, they drop that treasure. The fighter can make 1 bonus melee attack action for each visible enemy fighter within an inch of them. Each of these attack actions must target a different fighter, so that is crazy cool. So if he can go in and hit like multiple people, he can make an attack action against each of them, which is really good. So onto the stats of them. Interestingly, they're all toughness 3, which surprised me. I thought they'd be tougher than that. They have got large wound pools with, between 30 and 35 wounds apiece, but you are going to take, it's going to be easy for people to damage you with only toughness of 3. I guess that represents the fact that these ogres are starving and they're not, quite as hardy as your usual ogre. They do hit pretty hard though. So we've got movement 5 across the board. The clawback. We've got 4 attacks, the strength 5 doing between 3 and 6 damage. Cave Howler, 5 attacks at strength 4 doing 3 or 6 damage. The Gorger at strength 4 with 4 attacks doing 3 or 5 damage. And then you've got the Gorger with club, who has 3 attacks, strength 5, 3/8 damage, 3/6 damage. And the Gorger with great club has a 2-inch range, 2 attacks, strength 6, 4 on a standard and 8 on a critical, and again you can get that critical hitting on 5s as well, so you've got some big spikes of damage on these guys, though it is going to be easy to wound them with that lower toughness, but you've still got 30 wounds to chew through, so they're pretty fun. On the other side of the box we've got the Wildercor Hunters. These are the human faction. Again, toughness 3 across the board, less wounds obviously because they're not big ogres. They've got a lot of cool abilities that key off their rune marks. So their basic reaction, Smart Step Backwards. Fighter can make this reaction after they've been allocated damage by a single attack. They make a bonus disengage action, so that can get you out of dodge pretty well. They've got a double Death Grip. After the fighter's next melee attack in the activation, if at least 1 hit roll from the attack action results in a hit, the target forfeits 1 of their actions in the battle round. If the target's already activated or they've no more actions to forfeit, allocate 3 damage. So you can stop something from, getting into position perhaps with that, which is pretty interesting. Hunting Pack, bigger friendly fighter with the Wildercor Hunters, faction rune mark within 2 inches. That fighter makes a bonus attack action that must target an enemy fighter within 2 inches. They've got a double Hunter's Eye. Until the end of the activation, add 1 to the damage points allocated to enemy fighters by each hit and critical hit made by that fighter. Trailblazer's Might. Until the end of the fighter's activation, attack actions made by this fighter score a critical hit and a 5+. Kill is an interesting one. So this one is a nice one done by the leader. Pick a visible enemy fighter, allocate a number of damage points to that enemy fighter equal to 3 times the number of friendly fighters with both the Wildercor Hunters rune mark and the Beast rune mark within 3 inches. So basically you can gang up with somebody with a load of dogs, surround them, and you do 3 times that many wounds worth. So if there's 4 dogs, you do what, 12 damage? That's pretty good. I really like that. It's going to be some like tactical play and getting everything to position, but I think that's really, really fun. And then you've got Regroup, which is a quad. Each visible friendly fighter with the Wildercor Hunters faction rune mark within 6 inches can make a bonus move or a bonus disengage action. So that's pretty cool. That's nice to kind of get you out of dodge or get you into position to set up some of your other abilities. Across the board you've got, you know, fairly low attack, but you've got a lot of range stuff. Most things within the faction have got ranged attacks that hit, you know, pretty hard for a ranged attack as well. So look at the Trailblazers, for example. If you did give them the twin crossbows, you've got 4 attacks at 8 range, strength 3, 1 damage or 3 damage on a crit. That's pretty cool, especially since you can do that triple that makes those crits activate on a 5+ as well. That's pretty good, I like that. For all your smaller guys as well, they've got range attacks too, so I think they're being pretty good. The hounds are only 60 points each, so you can really build around having lots of dogs and trying to trigger that kill ability. So yeah, I think there's going to be some fun play with the Wildercor Hunters. We also get rules for the moor pit in here as well. This is the big scenery piece that's included in the box, and that's pretty fun as well. Basically, if you end up on the moor, you're taken down. There's ways of pushing people into it, so that's quite fun, trying to throw your opponent into the pit itself. And then, like with the other books as well, we get full sets of quests and territories and encampments and all that kind of stuff that you'd get in the other books in the series. We also get 2 of the big arching campaigns too. These have been really, really fun in the other books, and essentially based on how the outcome of the battle goes, it will lead you to your next game. So for example, if you win this battle, it takes you that way. If your adversary wins, it takes you the other way. So that's fun. This one's quite interesting as well, because you and your opponent basically pick what they want to try and do, and that will determine what happens during the battle as well. So that's pretty fun. So we get 2 of these, one of these for the ogres and another one for the hunters. So again, really fun. I do like this kind of stuff. And then in the back of the book we get basically all of the cards that are included in the box as well. Interestingly, not the terrain cards though. They're not included on here, but they are included in the box. So let's have a quick look at the finished models and see what they look like. So I managed to get all this built. I've started painting the moor pit, which is a really, really nice scenery piece. Now, I've got to admit, this one was a bit of a dog to put together. Some of the parts seemed a little bit warped, and it made it a little bit tricky to assemble, especially that skull piece. There was a few gaps once I'd finished it that I had to fill, and I don't know if you can see on here, but I've managed to straighten it out now, but it was a little bit wonky when I first built it, so I had to kind of like reposition it and get it in place. So this is made up of 2 big pieces of plastic, so obviously if there's any kind of warpage or anything, you might struggle a little bit to get it sitting completely flush. So just take the time to get it kind of right, because it is worth it. It looks really, really nice, and obviously it's very different than the other Gnarlwood scenery that we've had. So yeah, really, really like that. I have managed to build and paint all of the ogres, and they are really, really fun models. Really characterful. I've kind of gone for that classic kind of albino scheme for the Gorgers, but yeah, these models are a massive step up of the old ones that we had for the Ogre Kingdoms, and I'm interested to see what their Age of Sigmar rules are going to be as well. Obviously we normally get those when the box kind of is on sale. They're normally on the website. At the time of recording this, I don't know what if their rules are going to change for Age of Sigmar. I suspect they will, because obviously there's a big unit of 5 of them, so maybe we'll see something a little bit different there for them. But yeah, these are really, really cool. You've got the leader, who's a big chunky ogre with 2 axes. Again, they're quite characterful as well. I've seen a few other members of the community painting these up in some unusual schemes as well. If you check out Vincent Notley's Twitter, he's done some really, really nice schemes on these ones. And then finally we've got this guy, who is very much a throwback to that original Gorger model that we had for the ogres. So yeah, nice to see the nod to that. And then on the other side of the box, I haven't managed to paint these up yet, but I wanted to show what the models look like assembled. And the Wildercor Hunters are really, really nice. Over the next few weeks I'm going to be working on my Cities of Sigmar, so I'll be painting up these guys, so stay tuned to our Twitter or X or whatever it's called nowadays, and Instagram, and I'll have some pictures of these guys as they're painted up, because they are really, really nice. Just alas, with the ogres to paint and the Slanesh warband for the Underworlds box, didn't manage to get these done in time for the video to go out, but yeah, there's lots of detail. You've got quite a few different ways of arming these as well. I've given them more bows because I quite like ranged units in Warcry, but yeah, you've got spears, you've got all sorts of options on these, which makes them quite a fun one to build and work on. But yeah, that is a look at the new Warcry set, Hunter and Hunted. So yeah, we'll hopefully have some games of this in the coming future too. I want to do a few Warcry battle reports, maybe working our way through those different campaigns, because I think that'd be quite fun to do. Over on the website as well, spruesandbrews.com, I have got a full write-up and review of this set with more images of all the models, all the sprues, pictures of the painted models too, and a full write-up on what you can find in the book, so check that out. If you have enjoyed the video, why not give us a follow? We do lots of stuff like this. We've also got a review of Death Gorge up today, the new Warhammer Underworlds box set too, so check that out. And if you would like to support the site, then why not use our Element Games link? We get a little bit of a kickback, which helps go towards the cost for running the site. But yeah, until next time, have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon.